Craig's a cattle farmer, but all of his animals are in a feedlot up near the buildings. So the remaining 70 to 100 acres back here in these draws, he is strictly dedicated to his deer hunting habitat and wants to do what's best to improve that. But this is very typical of what you find out here. These areas were once grazed, and what's here is forage that was either planted or introduced or carried in that the cattle found very attractive and palatable and nutritious. But for wildlife, this smooth brome grass has zero value for them. So what our plan is going to be is to get in here and rapidly and aggressively attack this smooth brome grass, to kill it back, to get what's native in the ground coming back, the good things that are here, warm season grasses and forbs, but also in some of these more open areas where Craig can get in here with a tractor and a drill, we're going to reintroduce some tall warm season grasses for additional great cover. All right, we talk a lot about sod forming grasses and these cool season grasses as opposed to a warm season bunch grass. And the thing about the smooth brome is it is also a rhizomial reproducing and spreading grass. What that means is it has an incredibly thick, fibrous underground root system that continues to work laterally and sending out more and more shoots. So it doesn't really spread from the seed, which it does, but it's more aggressively spread through these underground fibrous rhizomes and roots. And you can see that just created an incredible, dense, thick wedge of sod. A plant emerges out of the ground off of another plant's rhizome. These are the roots that are going to feed the water and nutrients to the plant. But these plants will also generate lateral rhizomes, which look like this. This will come over and a new plant will germinate from a bud. These things will continue to colonize just through sending down roots, shooting out rhizomes to the sides, and developing new plants off of those rhizomes. So you can see over time, they just continue to fill in and fill in and fill in and just create an impenetrable mat of roots and rhizomes that choke anything else out. It's a very aggressive spreader, obviously very successful, but you might have heard that term tossed around a lot, but maybe never quite understood what it means. There's a pretty nice example. This is what we got to combat for Craig to get some diversity and back to a more of a native plant community growing back in here that's going to benefit the wildlife. It's just going to be a matter of patience with this because this has been here for so long that undoubtedly there's going to be regeneration. So over time and through specific timing of herbicide applications, Craig will be able to dominate this, take it back over, and we're going to work up to the top of the hill here where he has done an extensive clearing with some machinery, and it will be a great spot to introduce with a warm season grass drill and drill in some very specific species that we want to further diversify the property. So this is one step in the right direction, is some aggressive use of herbicides to control what's taken over down here. Craig came in here, has an attachment for his skid loader, and has developed a really cool technique for uprooting these cedars and shoving them. And then he had another gentleman in here with an excavator that was picking them up and piling them up. So this ground that we're standing on right now was a heavy, well, it's a continuation of that heavy stand of cedar. So what a contrast to now this open hillside. And you can see we're not dealing with that matted grass that we have down in the bottoms that's been growing brome for years and years and years. We have a blank slate right here. So he's created an incredible opening, again, for additional diversity on the property, super big patchwork of different habitat types here. Our plan is here, because it's such an open area and he can get up here with his tractor, to go ahead and drill in warm season grasses, specifically the three big species that we talk about, the big blue stem Indian and switchgrass, and create just a phenomenal extension of cover right here. Let the deer still get sunlight from the top, can get in here and get shade if they want, and they've got that wind cover and obviously screening cover for them. If they want to lay out in the grasses, they can. If they want to go into your cedar stand, they can. If they want to drop down into the food, they've got it. So just a continued extension, as I said, of diversity. But We've got to get in here with just one application of Roundup to burn this down. This is something you can plant this spring yet. And anytime between the 1st of May, middle of May till June the 15th or so would be ideal to get this planted. And you've got a grass drill that you're rebuilding right now and getting ready. Yeah. There you go. You've got all the tools you need. By the way, if I may point out this area right here, you can see where the landowner has already taken his equipment in there and cleared these cedars out. These lighter colored circles are piles of dead cedars that he will be burning to open this up. But everything that you see that's vegetation colored green that's not in the timber is covered with smooth brome grass. So it is effectively creating almost a monoculture. I mean, there's only a couple different species of things that are growing in there because of that aggressive spreading and the smothering ability of that smooth brome grass. So he is going to aggressively attack all of that brome with herbicide, glyphosate, basically timing it correctly, doing some follow-up and monitoring it in preparation for a couple different things. Areas that are open and are going to be introduced to seeded warm season grass stands and fire breaks accordingly. But then again, areas of just leaving them alone once the herbicide treatment is done, letting nature take its course and let some of that native seed that's in the bank there reemerge after being freed up and allowed to get sunlight and water and nutrients after the brome is gone, which we noticed in some areas where there were some disturbances. There were some native seed, some switchgrass Indian and big blue stem, that we noticed in very small numbers and very small pockets where Craig had recently done some disturbance. But also notice on the hillside here, we've got some stands, some clumps, I shouldn't say stands, but some native grasses returned. The seed was in the soil bank and it came back on its own. Obviously not to the level and the thickness and the density that we'd like to see, but it just goes to show you what could happen if these hillsides are opened back up to sun and these warm season grasses are allowed to once again receive some sunlight and exposure to the air and to the sun to get started. Up here, several more grasses. We've noticed some Indian grass, some shorter species of switchgrass, and lots of little broom sedge and things like that. If this smooth brome had been sprayed and killed down, there would be much more diversity and much more of a population of these native warm season grasses in here without even dropping a seed that you would buy commercially. So it's going to take some time. One thing that I kept talking to him is please don't be overwhelmed with what we're talking about and what we're going to propose to you. Understand that this could be a 1, 2, 3 to 5 year long project. Taking it off in chunks and not being so intimidated by the overall plan that you're gonna, oh my gosh, I've only got 3 months and then it's gonna be fall time. You can't look at it that way. You've got to focus, get one part of it done, look at what you did and mark it off the list and move forward with the next thing that's on the list. So we're gonna be talking to him and working with him on it. This thing has a lot of potential here because there are some fantastic deer in the area. The potential there as far as great antler conformation and size, the bucks can really grow some impressive headgear out there. And I know that he will enjoy this for years to come. It's going to make a huge switch around here in the next couple years for him. And the cool thing about the technology that we have nowadays is that I can sit here with this app, this Hunt Stand app open, and draw these food plot shapes, draw the warm season grass areas, the fire breaks, the stand locations, all those things. And Craig, who lives 11, 12 hours away, I can email it to him or I can share it with him, and it's something that we can work together on and correctly, understandably, look at these different symbols and things and know right where we're going with this. Something that we didn't have 20 years ago where everything was drawn on paper. But fantastic technology and makes our job in life a lot easier, and frankly, it looks more professional too. So.